I've got the frame mounted up on the jig now. I got struts in, got it tack welded around, and you see I got this pocket in for my fuel pump clearance right here. And I've got my lower control arms on here. I put the rod in, did all that. And then we're gonna try to put the plates on that eventually the upper control arm mounts are gonna go on as well in this video here. So don't run off. So what I'm thinking here is I'm gonna take and tack weld this H-beam down, and I'll get the frame squared up best I can with the front of it just sitting down, and put a tack weld on this rear, just a tack weld from the frame down and a tack weld from the H-beam down to the jig. And so I've got the back fixed, and then I can turn around and I can jack the front up and twist and pull and bend. And when I get it exactly right, then I can turn around and take and cut me some little legs to like weld some tacks down to hold it in place. That's how I'm gonna go about doing this. So I'm measuring off this inside point right here that I'm gonna bolt that control arm up to. I'm gonna call that how I actually find true center on the car. It's from that pad right there to that pad right there. That's what we're going with. I don't think there's really a right or wrong way, but I like to use the suspension point, so. The other thing I'll do is there's one. So I just got a wood block up here. We'll figure it out. I'm gonna cut some legs and put in there. Y'all, what I'm thinking I'm gonna do here is I'm just gonna put some uprights right in here. I'm probably gonna put me another piece across this front, out in front of the horn, because when I cut all of this loose, that's gonna be real flimsy on the front. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strut it right here, and then I'm gonna put a strut out here as well. That way I've got that front. This is different from how I did the last one. When I did the last one, I knew I was going to do like 2 degrees of rake, which on the 112-inch chassis on the frame rails is about 2 inches, like front to back of rake in the car, which was kind of like what my static ride height, how it was going to be. And that's how I built the car. Then I turned around and I built my cage level on that. And I don't think that was the best way. And I talked to Jamie Lewis about it, and he's been giving me some tips and guidance, because God knows he knows how to build cars. And like, he likes to build the metric chassis flat, and they work out a little bit better than some cars, because like this thing is like 8 inches from the lower trailing arm bolts on the back being 8 inches, and like 8 inches on the front, and when you put the level on it on the side of it, it is 0. So it's pretty easy to figure out what flat is on the metric and build the cage and everything flat. And then, you know, I am going to turn the car up. I am probably going to have 2 or 3 degrees of rake in the car at ride height, but I'm going to build it on the jig flat. Now, the only thing that I'll say about that now, before I forget, we hadn't got to it, but I don't want to forget it, is I am not going to mount the engine level in this. Because like on the Crush, I put the 2 degrees rake in it, and then I set the car level. Well, because I'm building this car flat, but I know I'm going to put rake in it, I am going to put angle in the engine. So when we set the engine, I'm going to set the drivetrain and everything in this car before I put all the tubes on it. So like when I set the engine in here, I am going to lean that engine back, you know, and over to the left. I'm going to have it centered in the car, high up as I can get it. But I'm going to put that angle in it where that I can hopefully approximate a level engine with what the car normally is at attitude. So a little bit different. And like I said, let me get these legs cut right here, and we'll start stabilizing all of this up. Right here. Yep. Right. So like all of this frame is looking like it's like a half a degree to 1 degree lower on this side. But that's all of this just stamped top. That's like all bent up and like half welded, and you know. Well, you can't go by that. Like, I'm not going to go by that. So, but really, like, I have to remind myself, like, all I care is where those holes at that lower control arm is going to go through. Because, like, every other mounting device for the suspension, I'm going to be building and crafting. So, like, I control it. But I don't control that lower control arm mounting point. So, I am going to, as far as like leveling the frame, I'm just thinking in my mind, like, what makes sense? Front hole on the very front of the car, I'm gonna call that my standard, and I'm gonna just make sure this board right here is flat, or it's flat enough, I'll put it that way. But I'm just gonna measure here, and I'm gonna make a mark. And it's just like a sanity check, just make sure. Alright, that has got to be no better than what it was. Go. Lift that side. Go over here. I'm just going to take and throw my level right across there. That's the spot right there. This is probably as close as I'm going to be able to get. It's like, yeah, I'm zero. So I'm just going to run me a strut right here and a strut right here just so I can start cutting all this away. I start welding all these seams up. I'm just wanting to keep it from twisting and pulling around and stuff. If I come right to that slot. Let's see, these should be symmetrical right here at that slot. Come right off that corner of that slot. Yeah, I'm fine. It's not, the only thing I was wondering is like, was it possibly twisted, you know, left or right here? And it's not, it's fine. Good enough. Lock it all up where I can start working on it. I went and grabbed a piece of 1/2 inch steel here. Make sure when you buy a piece of this stock that it's straight. I've got to open these holes up just a little bit. I hope I got this right. I think so. 1/2 inch drill here. So we got to see how far off they are. They're usually always off. Come on, man. Let's set that up better. There it goes. That's pretty close. That was pretty close. It's off maybe, it's off like less than 1/8 of an inch, so not bad. Not bad. All right. Just like it right there. Weld that up. Ooh, that's loud. Well, I got them on there. They sure didn't move easy. Things is nice. I'm just going to check, make sure everything should be good. Everything should be good, but just kind of, now's the time.
find out if I got any problems. Now is the time. Well, I can fix it. That's money. That's exactly the same. That's a good sign. So, Mama Laura's a truly straight car. Built everything perfectly straight. So what I did is I just split it in half. Just went 4 inches back. It's gonna give me plenty of room. And I'm gonna cut this plate and just bend this plate down, and then just put the floor in and fill in that gap right there. So I'm not gonna cut it loose right here because I'm going to bend it. And then I'm not going all the way in because I just don't need to. I'm gonna leave that structure. That'll help strengthen it up. And then I'll probably fill this in afterwards. But yeah, let me go ahead and get this cut loose. We was looking for right there. Look at that. Well, extend a little cleanup with a flat disc, but it's not the ugliest one I ever done. No, it's fine. It's fine. That fuel pump sits right in here, so I just make a big old clearance out. That works pretty good, just bending that down though. Keeps you from having to put that piece in too and figure it all out. So yeah, that's all there is to it. Do that. Mount's gonna sit right here for the engine. So yeah, it works. Let's get these tops. I'm gonna mark out across here where I'm gonna cut. I'm gonna cut this square out on each side. So let's get that done here. I think how I'm gonna do this is like this. I'm gonna go straight across right here in line with my cross member. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Just take and use it as a guide here. That way it's the same on both sides. And it doesn't have to be perfect, I mean, you know, but let's see. Yep. So I'm just gonna do it like this right here. Draw me a line across there. Try to make it as close to the same on both sides as I can. But I got me a piece of plate steel that's going in here, but I got to cut all this out first. All right, so that's my front line, and then my back line, I'm gonna come right back here. Right. Matter of fact, I'll just measure. I think that'd be the best. Make it exactly the same on both sides. Oh, it looks like 9 inches would be. Let me see where my spring is. While I have my lowers, make sure that where I cut, yep, yeah, 9 inches will be plenty. I don't want to cut a whole lot more away than I have to. The more I cut away, the more I got to build back. So I'm just going to go with 9 inches cut out. And if that don't look right and we need to cut some more or whatever, we will. Come right here. Get that level right there. Down just a little. Right there. I got one last measurement. I'm just going to take and lay this right in line with that horn there. Put it on this side where I can see it from the inside. There we go. I'm just kind of eyeballing this, folks. It looks good. Kind of go right up through here. It's my inside cut. So I'm just following that line of that horn there is what I'm doing. There we go. Woohoo! Right there. Just going to go under it here and on top of it there. That was something Jamie suggested to me because this all runs uphill. Like I got the frame level, but this is running uphill. But then you're going to turn around and like I'm going to put this plate under it here and on top of it there. Well, I cut the steel plate, not the cardboard, obviously. But anyway, and then where did he sit? Oh, and then like the plates he sent me. He has an angle cut on the bottom of them as well, and that angle is, you know, to account for that. Now, obviously, we're going to make sure that's exactly 90 degrees right here on this leg right here, so we may have to do some final trimming to get it just perfect. But it's a pretty good idea, pretty good system. So, just rough this in right here. Alright, a couple things I did here. I went ahead and cleaned this up. Put some welds in here while I had a chance while this was open. Back in the seams on the inside. I got the plate all cleaned up and pretty. Mill scale off where I need to. I thought I did. I have my mill scale? Yeah. See, goes right in there like that. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to make sure I get it zero this way. So I'm just going to put it in there. And I got my welder turned up hot for this. I mean hot. Alright y'all, so Jamie had said for me to put it under it on the front and on top of it on the back. That's exactly what I've done here. I got the frame sitting level to like the rails and everything. And I set this up here. A little bit of debris there, I'm gonna clean that off. Sit that up there like it right there. And let's just say, wow, 90 degrees on the money. First take, I swear, I did not rig anything up to get that, like 90 degrees. Jamie, you are the man. That is amazing. I don't think he sells these commercially, but he should, because that is just like I set the frame level and I cut this out under it on the back on top of it, and he's already got the angle figured out for where to put, like it doesn't get any easier than that. I mean, man, that's awesome. Anyway, if he ever does decide to start selling these or producing these in mass or anything like that, I will put it on, I'll tell you on the channel or whatever, but don't wear me out, you know, before that, because, you know, it's like, he's just helping me out. He's just helping me out. This is his personal stuff. He builds cars. He's just helping me out. But freaking awesome, Jamie. That is so easy. No wonder he's been building cars so long, so he's done figured out like how to do this in mass production and stuff. And that right there works. So, okay, well, we're not putting this on right now. We're just getting all this done. We're gonna weld everything up, put the drivetrain in. This doesn't go on until the bay bars go in, and then we'll start assembling up all this front. But just wanted to kind of see how that was gonna work out. And that's, man, that's awesome. right, so we're all welded in here, looking good. Again, I'm not going to actually mount the upper tower until much later in the build when we're ready to do the whole front end geometry. And then after we do that, then we can drill it and put the jack bolt mount in it and that kind of stuff. But that right there, I like that. I like how that works. I'm going for more of a minimal. I don't want to sit here and just cut for days and, you know, beat and bang on this frame trying to like make it smooth. Like cut it where it needs to be cut, put the part in the way it needs to be put in, just like anybody else could see what I'm doing and be able to do that. That was pretty quick and simple way to do that right there. Really like how that worked out. So this week, I'm gonna go ahead and get all of these seams welded up. I gotta get these seams done, especially where the cross member is. I gotta get those seams, my rear mounts right here, re-weld the seams on them, and then just where the frame is put together, because I mean, those factory seams, you know, I mean, it's fine. It works fine. These cars have been running on the road now for 40, 50 years. But for racing, you know, need to re-weld all these seams. So I'll go ahead and get all of that done off camera and then turn around in our next video. What I'm thinking is we'll pull the whole drivetrain out of the crush. And since I'll have all of this underneath welded up done, then at that point we can take and we can sit the drivetrain in here. And like I said, we're not going to set it level with the car, so we'll cover that in video. We're going to set it, put our angle in it and everything, and put our rear mounts. And I mean, I'm going to really do a hack job on this. I'm probably going to just cut the mounts out of the crush and then just sit them down on here. And if the heights work out, we're going to weld it all up. We'll get it mounted in place. And then at that point, hopefully we can get to roll cage. I want the drivetrain in before I do roll cage. That way, like, I'm gonna have the headers on the motor and everything, you know, because like I've found out the hard way, you can really cause yourself a lot of trouble by not having the engine completely mocked up or in there whenever you're doing this stuff. So as you can see, we're just getting going. Stick with us, folks. We're gonna go the whole way through this car, all the way to the track racing it. See you next time.